This is interview 133. Alright, so my first question is, what comes to mind when you hear the term or the phrase, the Earth system?
I think of the water cycle first, and I think of plate tectonics and things cycling through.
Cool. So what are some parts, if we consider the Earth a system, what are some of the parts that make that up?
I want to say plate tectonics and the evaporation cycle, like I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know much anything else about it.
Okay. Great. So what is your definition, if we take the Earth part off, of just a system in general? So what's a system?
I think like a Rube Goldberg, everything works together and creates a chain reaction that causes some other thing to happen.
Mm-hmm. Great. So I'm going to ask you about some more specific things now. So my next line of questions are about the element carbon and its compounds. So when we talk about carbon, where on Earth could you find carbon? What are some things that have carbon or its compounds in them?
Anything organic, so human beings, animals, plants.
Cool. Anything else?
I guess the air, but that'd be about it.
Okay. Great. So why is carbon important?
I honestly don't know. I just know it makes up all living things, and that human beings create it when taking in oxygen, so it reciprocates and causes photosynthesis, among other things.
Great. So what are some ways in which carbon moves or cycles?
Through human beings, one being expelled as we breathe in oxygen, and as things break down in the earth. So if you bury like an animal or something or a plant, it breaks down and the carbon is released into the water and things.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the same line of questions about nitrogen. So where can I find nitrogen on Earth?
I feel like you can find that in almost all living things as well, and probably a few more non-living things than carbon.
Mm-hmm. So like what kind of non-living things?
Maybe rocks and different kinds of dirt and even some lava, I feel like, or something under the earth.
Mm-hmm. Great. So why is nitrogen important? Why is it an important element?
I feel like it's like you can't have life without nitrogen, because nitrogen is like a building block. I feel like I really don't know much about it either.
Okay. Cool. So what are some ways that nitrogen moves or cycles?
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
I want to say through water.
Okay.
I feel like nitrogen probably is within our water and within probably some dirt and those kind of things too. As things decompose, nitrogen may be released as well as carbon.
Great. So the last element I'm going to ask about is phosphorus. So any ideas where I could find phosphorus on Earth?
And minerals, maybe? Other than that, I really don't know.
Okay. Great. So why do you think phosphorus is important?
I also have no idea, too. I feel like phosphorus and fluoride kind of go together. And those two things are probably important for life and important to grow plants. I know nitrogen in the soil, back to that, is like important in soil to help plants grow. And you have to add it to a lot of things that are legumes and those kind of things to grow. And I feel like phosphorus is another ingredient in fertilizers too, so that phosphorus things can't grow properly.
Great. Good. So any ideas about how phosphorus moves or cycles?
I have no idea. I know in horticulture you buy it and bag the fertilizer to add to the soil to make things grow richer and thicker.
Okay. Do you have any ideas how we make fertilizer?
Probably from things extracted from the ground, and elements and minerals, those kind of things.
Great. Cool. Can you think of any other elements that cycle?
I feel like every element cycles. Honestly, I feel like hydrogen cycles. I don't know how it does that, but I feel like there has to be some way for it to get reciprocated throughout the atmosphere.
Great. Good. And cool. So the elements we talked about, phosphorus, nitrogen, and carbon, are there any ways that any of the three of them can affect environments or change environments?
Besides helping plants grow or not grow, I know certain types of potatoes, for example, have to have a lot of nitrogen in the soil. They're heavy feeders. But without nitrogen, and so it would grow anyway, just wouldn't be as much biomass, so human beings wouldn't eat as much. And without carbon, there obviously no life.
Great. All right. So now comes the fun part. All right. So here's a piece of paper. I would like you to draw me your version of the carbon cycle. So as you picture in your brain, so John, as you're drawing, just kind of tell me what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm going to draw something being buried and breaking down and making carbon. So little plant dude, and then it dies, and it's being slowly pushed into the ground. as elements and things cover it up, as more dirt gets compacted over the top. And as it is in the ground, it breaks down in just its bare parts. And then carbon is now a part of the soil again, and it works its way back to grow more plants.
Cool.
And human beings breathe out carbon and carbon dioxide, and goes into plants, which creates oxygen.
Okay. How does it do that? What's the process?
Photosynthesis.
Okay.
Through the plant.
Cool. So then, nice. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add to that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, I'll trade you. And let's see what we can make of the nitrogen cycle. What do you think?
I have no idea where nitrogen even comes from.
Okay.
I know that farmers and people add it to soil.
Okay, so let's start there. Let's start with the soil.
It's in the soil, and nitrogen gets added to grow plants.
Mm-hmm.
And for heavy feeder type plants, it makes them grow more biomass and be able to feed more people and get more money out of it for production.
Okay.
And then it's harvested, and I'm guessing it breaks down the same way carbon does, and it's like brought back into the soil again, because plants won't use it all. And also as parts break off that have nitrogen in them, it breaks down back into the soil.
Okay. Cool. Nice. Okay. Phosphorus.
I think it's the same way as nitrogen.
Yeah. Okay.
And
great.
also, I feel like phosphorus is more is more in the water more.
Okay, so I can go ahead and put that in your diagram.
It's soil and phosphorus is in the soil as added through fertilizer or other natural means. I have no idea how it works.
Yeah.
And it gets into the groundwater, and then it flows more, and then it gets absorbed by plants and other things that human beings eat, and then it goes through us, and then it goes back into the ground. And then comes back to water and just repeats itself.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, so my last, I have this fun little picture. So, I want you to start by, go ahead and put places where you think there would be carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. You can indicate that with C's, P's, and N's.
I think carbon being the tree, probably the rabbit because it's a living thing.
Mm-hmm.
Carbon being the soil because living things decompose, and the little fish dude.
Mm-hmm.
Nitrogen probably be in the air more,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously in the sun. And let's see, I feel like it could be in the clouds too because rain is evaporated up. Phosphorus. I feel like phosphorus is again more in the water. And I guess that's it.
Okay, cool. So now,
Like everything.
I mean, we could probably go for days, but go ahead now and put arrows where you think there might be processes moving those elements from one place to another. And if you know what that process is, you can tell me about it.
Photosynthesis for the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Transpiration also for the tree. Evaporation, moving nitrogen, phosphorus, and the carbon, things that are in the ground, up through the rain.
Mm-hmm.
The water cycle, moving things up through the rain too from the stream. Decomposition in the soil, causing carbon to be released and broken down further. And probably tons of explosions and things happening in the sun that release gas, like hydrogen and nitrogen.
So if the tree is taking carbon out, do you think there's carbon in the atmosphere too then? Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. So we have nitrogen and carbon in the atmosphere. Which of the two do you think is more abundant?
Probably carbon.
Yeah. Great.
Put carbon in the air too.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.